Welcome back to Capitol Tide. I'm Tim Boehm. State Representative Julie Von Hafen in hot water this week after she posted an image from a protest over the weekend that showed a protester holding a sign that seemingly advocated for the beheading of President Trump. In response, several Republican lawmakers have condemned the post, and the state Republican Party has gone as far to call for Representative Von Hafen's resignation. Now conservative columnist and publisher of Longleaf Politics, Andrew Dunn, is giving his take on the situation, writing in the Charlotte Observer that while Von Hafen's post was awful, the response from the GOP is exhausting. Andrew Dunn joins us now for more on this. Andrew, first of all, it's great to see you. Thanks for joining us. I was intrigued by this because it's kind of, saying calm down everybody, I guess. What inspired you to write this, and tell us a little bit more about your take on this?
Yeah, so it was hard not to write about it. I really didn't want to, is that sort of thing just tires me out. But it was the talk of the town. I mean, it was the big story in North Carolina politics, and I felt like I had to weigh in.
Now, are you basically saying here that, look, both sides do this, we need to stop? Is that sort of the point here?
Yeah, I think that's a fair summation. The post itself was pretty gross. There's really not a place for that. You're kind of used to seeing that sort of thing on social media, but to come from an actual sitting lawmaker is just not right. However, the response also wasn't quite right. It was a little over the top. I think it's perfectly fair game to point it out. I think it's perfectly fair game to call her out for it and to say that it's inappropriate. But the longer that it dragged on, the more it seems like we were getting into the realm of performance politics rather than corrective politics.
Well, I know deep down you care about politics, and is there a concern that's performative is preventing good things from getting done?
I don't know if that's the concern. And I'm very hesitant to criticize Republicans here for taking this approach, because I completely get why they're doing it. We just got out of an election cycle where Republicans were constantly asked to respond to stuff that Mark Robinson said, that Michelle Morrow had said, and it's exhausting. So Republicans, when they see an opportunity that the tables have turned, that the shoe's on the other foot, I completely get the impulse to stick it right back to them. But my concern is that, the theory that they're working under is kind of mutually assured destruction. That, if we both do this, if we both go this route, then eventually people just tune out and it's kind of a wash. I'm not 100% sure that that's accurate or that's actually what will happen. I would just encourage folks on my side of the aisle, I'm a registered Republican, to take a deep breath and think about, well, how can we have the actual biggest impact here?
We are kind of living in an outraged era, right? I mean, that's sort of what's behind a lot of this, particularly in social media, I guess, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And all the incentives are there to, farm the outrage, for clicks, for donation dollars, for attention. We're very much in an attention economy, not just in politics, but throughout our society.
I do feel, one last question, I do feel like privately people may say you're right, but they also say, like, we got to do it, right? It's part of the game. Have you heard much reaction yet?
Sure, I've heard plenty of reaction, just along those lines. And I'm fortunate enough to be in a position where I don't have to play the game, that I can just call it how I see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And in some ways, that's a good place to be these days. It's a rough and tumble from back when you were deep in the game. Andrew, good to hear your perspective. Appreciate your time. Good to see you.
Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. Let Spectrum News be your resource for balanced, in-depth political coverage, and click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV to learn more about the candidates, where they stand on the issues, and more. We'll see you then.